AviationPros.com is the portal website for AMT, Airport Business, and Ground Support Worldwide magazines. Visit daily for breaking news, industry blogs, and insightful articles from our magazine's editorial team. And don't forget to sign up for our publication's daily e-newsletters. It's all at AviationPros.com.
Hello and welcome to the Aviation Pros podcast. I'm Josh Smith, editor of Ground Support Worldwide, and today we're speaking with Alex Tanem, CEO at Aviator Airport Alliance, about sustainability goals and how ground handling companies can contribute to a greener industry. Alex, thank you for your time and your willingness to share more information on this subject.
Thank you very much for having me.
Beginning with sustainability goals. The airline industry has pledged to achieve net zero carbon emissions by the year 2050, which requires numerous stakeholders to contribute. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Aviator is already working on an accelerated timeline to become net zero. Is that correct?
Yes, we are working on an accelerated timeline, and we are actually at a few of our airports, we are actually net zero today. So we're doing well in our progress.
That's great to hear about the progress. What specific goals, had you set, and in terms of that timeline, how many airports have reached the goals that you've set?
We are well. First of all, we set this goal a long time ago, going electric. We've also been helped a lot, especially in Sweden, by Swedavia, who is the airport owner in Sweden. They are actually now carbon neutral, the airports themselves. They use HVO fuel wherever they can, and also they made it, they incentivized the use of HVO fuel by making it slightly bit cheaper than the normal diesel for us. So it made it attractive for us. There has been a couple of challenges with it in regards to the very cold weather when we have problems with diesel to begin with when it gets minus 25 and lower. And with HVO fuel, we have had a few challenges, but it really helps. And that together with about 65% of all our equipment being electric and electricity coming from renewable sources at the airports in Swedavia airports, we are actually today carbon neutral already and in Sweden. And then we are working with the airport authorities in the other 3 countries that we are in the Nordics and trying to get HVO type fuel in as well, while we are waiting to renew all of our fleet to electric. There are a couple of challenges. Some equipment are easy to get electric and easy to buy electric. I mean, you have the baggage tractors, they've been electric kind of forever, and high loaders, transporters, and a few other pieces of equipment. Our challenge is the de-icers because they need a lot of power. There are hybrid de-icers on the market as per today, but I think it's going to be a while maybe not until they come, the fully electric de-icers, but until we are able to renew our whole fleet with it. And that's where HVO comes in. So our carbon neutral target, I'm not too worried about. The net zero is a bit more difficult, obviously, and that has more implications than just the ground equipment as well. It's more to it to be net zero in all of this. But we're well on our way getting there. I must say though, we've done a good job. However, we have also been helped by the airports. And I want to add one more thing. Sorry, get me going here, and I just keep on going. We also with the airports in the Nordics, I have to give them praise though. We do fight a bit with them, but I have to give the airports praise because some of the airports that we have been looking at, other necks or the other parts of the world, the airport want you to go electric, and then they put one electric charger on that side of the airport and another electric charger on the other side of the airport. In the cooperation that we have with the airports in the Nordics, they've actually been okay. We have chargers at some airports. We have it at every single gate, so we don't really ever have to put the equipment off for charge. We just plug it in wherever it is, because there will be a plug wherever the equipment is at the airport. So it's we have a bit of help, even though I think we have done a pretty good job ourselves in all of this as well.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and I think it's logical that having a good partnership with other stakeholders is important to this. And you alluded to some of the investments in greener ground support equipment. So with those two ideas in mind and expanding on those thoughts, what other specific steps as a ground handler has Aviator taken to really focus on that decrease in environmental impact?
Well, we were the first in the world to use an electric high loader. We were the first in the world to use a TBL 100 electric. We were actually also the first in the world to actually do a pushback on an Airbus 380 fully electric. So we have been in the forefront of trying to push the providers or the manufacturers also into going electric. So we are trying to push them. We also see some of our competition that is now bragging over doing green turnarounds. We did our first green turnaround in 2020, and we really got it kicked off in 2021. And since then, we've done a lot of green turnarounds. What I think what prompted this equally as much as the environment, the overall environment for us is our environment for our people out there. I've been working at the ramp myself. I started at the ramp in 1995. And there's a lot of noise, a lot of fumes, a lot of smells. You have the aircraft themselves when they start up. They are getting better and better year by year, of course, more and more environmental, the aircraft themselves as well. But around the aircraft, you have a couple of high loaders, you have a couple of belts, you have some tractors running around, you have the fuel truck coming, and all of that creates at times a horrible environment for our staff out there. Also noise-wise. And the more electric equipment there is, the better the environment for our staff. There's no fumes, there's no noise. They move even kind of smoother than the other equipment. So it does a lot for our staff, for our hardworking staff out there as well. And there's a huge focus on aviation, of course. There's always something about how much aviation is polluting the world. And there's a lot of discussions from aviation enthusiasts that claim it's not so much if you compare to other sources. But the fact is, there are quite a lot of fumes coming from airlines and aviation. And we need to play our part. And we see the airlines, they focus very, very much on it. We have won a couple of contracts due to us doing green turnarounds. And so it's a huge focus from the airlines. So we mentioned that as well. We recently went to Seeheim in Germany. We won a prize for sustainability, best station out of, I don't quote on this, but I think around 310 operated destinations in the Lufthansa group. And of those 310, we were deemed the most sustainable operation on the ground. So we got that prize just a few weeks ago by the Lufthansa group. So very, very proud of that as well. And that was Station Arlanda, Stockholm, that won that prize for us. So it's also very, very nice to get a concrete proof that our customers appreciate this as well.
Yes, of course. I understand that there are efforts to go green all throughout the ground handling industry, but of course, as you alluded to, some activities are more challenging than others when striving to improve that sustainability. And in Scandinavia in particular, winters can be quite harsh. So with all of that, Aviator's still been able to conduct winter operations and hit sustainability benchmarks within the company. How have you been able to overcome those weather-related challenges and those climate-related challenges to still hit on the goals that you've laid out as a company?
Some places are more challenging than others. We have probably our coldest destination, Bardufoss. It's the second northernmost station that we have. It's in the inland in northern Norway, and it's not uncommon to reach -40 in the wintertime. I'm from there myself. My mom is from up there, and I used to celebrate Christmas up there. And as a child, we used to hate it because we weren't allowed to play outside at -40 degrees, obviously. But it's that creates problems. First of all, fuse-wise, because normal diesel or HVO diesel, it becomes slush. When it's that cold. Small airports as well, so we don't have too much garage space to fill it up. And with the de-icers, when you're going to have warm liquid spat out from a metal container on a car at -40, it takes a lot of energy to heat it up and to get the machines going. So there we have a more challenge than we have at, for instance, Arlanda that we've been talking about. They don't have those low temperatures. The infrastructure is better at those airports. So those are going to be our most challenging kind of airports that we're looking at. And also there's a lot of de-icing. A normal winter, the 3-4 toughest winter months, we do de-ice 2 out of 3 on an average 2 out of 3 departures. We have the same thing in Tromsø, Bodø, a couple of other destinations up north as well, but they are more closer to the sea, hence we don't reach those low temperatures. But so that is, admittingly, that is going to be challenging for us. Don't really have a solution for that quite yet. I mean, the electric part of it is relatively simple. Every single equipment we buy, we try to buy electric. So they will have electric from renewable sources. That's another thing up north. They have a lot of hydropower. But again, the de-icing is going to be a challenge for us. And right now, to be very honest, I don't have a solution for it 100%. I am counting on the producers to come up with a very good electric solution for us.
Understood. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more with the CEO of Aviator Airport Alliance, Alex Tanem.
Would you like to reach key decision makers in the industry? Share your message on the Aviation Pros podcast and reach key leaders across all facets of aviation, including aircraft maintenance, airports, FBOs, airlines, and ground handling. Contact one of Aviation Pros' helpful account representatives to find out more.
We're back with Aviator's Alex Tanem, and now that we've learned more about some of Aviator's sustainability achievements, I'd like to get some more perspective on creating environmental goals in general. To start on that idea, for other ground service providers looking to reduce their environmental impact, what are some of the first steps required to increase green operations?
Like you said earlier, it's extremely important to get all the stakeholders on board. I mean, we are an operator at an airport. The airport is owned and operated by, the airport operator, obviously. We need them on board. We need the electrical plugs around. We need charging stations. We need all of these things that we cannot put up ourselves. Hydrogen is also common. We need the airport to invest in the infrastructure to enable us to use electric equipment. We also need for the equipment that in the close future cannot be electric, or we don't have electric, we need then help for them to provide us with the likes of HVO fuel. So it's the most important thing, I think, is to sit down in dialogue with the airport operator to try to find solutions to make this achievable goals. Because one thing, you can have a plan of going 100% electric in 2 years, but if you don't have enough charging infrastructure, you can't. So it is, I said that's the first advice. And then, of course, you have to have a long-term goal. I mean, for every non-electric equipment you buy, you push the goal further ahead of you. So it's very important to have a strategy, of course, but also to have achievable goals with control gates along the way.
As far as working with the other stakeholders, are there particular talking points or use cases you can bring to an airport to help that side of the partnership kind of realize the benefits of making these investments into more sustainable operations?
In any dialogue, I dare say, with the airport authorities that we need the help of the airlines. There is a certain hierarchy at the airports, and unfortunately, as a ground handler, we're not near the top of that hierarchy. So, but the airlines, they have a lot more power than us to influence what the airport does. So we also use our bigger airlines in the area to help us in that dialogue and help push the airports to get it our way. But also, the airport operator is very interested in this. They want to be green. They want to brag themselves about being green and what they do for sustainability. So it's a little bit of making a push in the direction that they're already looking, sometimes helping them make the decisions as best as we can. But they're already looking that direction. So it's not like we're not trying to turn around the airport authorities or trying to make them do anything different. We just want to make them do something that can make it achievable for both of us. Because, I mean, a ground handler, we are a big part of the airport operation. We are also potentially a big polluter at the airport operations. So we need to work together. We need to go hand in hand to try to make this, again, achievable.
When striving for those goals, then what are some of the primary challenges that ground handlers do face when striving to make those operations more sustainable?
Several of them. One is cost. I mean, it costs money to renew the equipment. We like to have a mix of equipment, and I think most ground handlers do. We need some really new, very reliable equipment for operation around the clock. But then we have a very peaky operation, meaning that we need a lot of equipment right in the peak. But the peak could be as low as half an hour, even down to minutes. So we like to then not only have the very expensive equipment, because that's going to cost us a lot of operational cost. So we need some of that old equipment that we use only once in a while. And for us to renew all of it is going to cost money. So it's the cost of it, of course, that is a challenge. And then again, like I said so many times now, it's the infrastructure. We need a proper infrastructure in place to be able to do this.
We've talked a little bit about some of the ways to overcome the challenges of infrastructure and partnering with other stakeholders, including the airport and airlines. But maybe the cost challenge is a little trickier to overcome. Are there ways to mitigate that challenge to an extent?
Yes, there are providers that help us out in financing the equipment. That helps, of course. We are in a low margin business. It's we are being pushed by the airlines. The airlines are being pushed by the passengers, of course. So it's down kind of a spiral, and we're at the bottom of it. So finding good finance solutions, finding good lease solutions for us. It is a pressured market, and again, we don't have too much margins to play around with. So finding finance options, I would say.
And then maybe as a good place to wrap up this conversation, ground handlers who are looking to enhance their sustainability, where can they go? What resources are available to them if they need more education on the topic or more guidance on, taking some of these initial steps to make their operations more sustainable?
I think the manufacturers, we have a close relationship with manufacturers that we use. They obviously have a lot of research in this. They have a lot of facts around their equipment. They can also tell us quite a lot about the maintenance, because there is a lot less maintenance on the electric equipment as well. I mean, see the pushbacks that are kind of hard use on the pushbacks. We have the TBL, especially TBL 100 that we have. I don't know how many pieces we have now. We have a lot of them. There's no maintenance. There's literally no maintenance. A little bit of oil here and there on the moving parts, and other than that, they're never in the workshop. As with diesel equipment, generally, we have to do service, a lot of moving parts in the engine that needs to be changed once in a while, and educate ourselves a bit more of the running cost. So we have the lifetime cost of the equipment, and then maybe it's not as expensive as you thought in the first place to renew this equipment. Because maintenance cost is a lot less on the electric equipment for all the years that we've used it.
Terrific. This has been a lot of really great information, and I think very insightful to our audience here who are looking to add some sustainability to their own operations. But that's going to conclude this edition of the Aviation Pros podcast. I'd like to thank our guest, Joe Alex Tanem. And if you'd like to learn more about his company, their ground handling services, or their environmental achievements, please visit www.aviator.eu. And for more information about ground handling processes, green operations, de-icing equipment, and more, you can stay up to date by subscribing to Ground Support Worldwide's daily newsletter. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Aviation Pros podcast, subscribe to it wherever you download your podcasts, rate and review it, and be sure to share it with your colleagues in the industry. And as always, please continue to visit AviationPros.com.